Part of the challenge of solving a crime can be tracking the gun, which can be even harder if it's what's called a ghost gun or an untraceable weapon found on the streets. As Brian Quabler explains, that poses a different threat.
There's the pop of a handgun, and then there's the thundering sound of rifle fire.
Tell me exactly what happened. I don't know. I was in my kitchen.
On July 14th, two loud and rapid bursts of gunfire sent neighbors ducking for cover in their own homes to call 911.
We just heard gunshots in the back of our alley, and I just ran to the front of my house. And how many shots did you hear? Maybe 4 or 5.
Baltimore detectives on an unrelated detail in the Western District heard it too, but knew immediately it came from a more powerful and lethally accurate weapon.
Somebody's really armed to the teeth.
Officers had just heard it ring through Dallas, and now here in Baltimore. While detectives here don't believe it was an ambush, suspect Dayton Harper, who was killed in the shootout, left no clues, nor did the high-powered weapon he turned on police.
When we found out that that gun was a homemade gun, and I was on the scene and we're looking at it and we're all wondering what to call it and what do you think it is and how would you describe it? That was a big part of the conversation.
Because as the commissioner confirms, on either side of the lower receiver was smooth and black. There were no markings, no serial numbers, no manufacturer. This rifle, milled and pieced together with spare parts, was homemade, styled after an AR-15.
The ATF and any law enforcement agency are going to be very concerned when this type of weapon winds up in the wrong hands.
Special Agent Dave Cheplack demonstrates the power of the AR-15, the weapon of choice in many recent mass shootings. It's characterized by more than just its unique sound. It fires a larger bullet at 2.5 times the velocity of a handgun, can pierce through standard issue body armor, and can fire up to 30 rounds in less than 10 seconds with pinpoint accuracy. When found on city streets and in the hands of a criminal, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms wants to know how.
We take it very seriously. We will intervene, work with the local municipality or the state police that have recovered the weapon, and conduct an urgent trace to make sure we can trace the life of the gun to find out how it wound up in the hands of the individual who used it.
Can you help me with a gun trace?
That normally happens here at ATF's Tracing Center in West Virginia. Law enforcement will usually call in a serial number and while the ATF now digitizes boxes of old ownership records it receives here, Congress still prevents a searchable database by name. Finding where a gun went from market to owner is still an analog process that can take up to a week. But the name given is a strong lead for police to track that gun's story, unless, of course, it never existed, like a ghost.
Yeah, very frustrating. It'd be nice to be able to gain the intelligence information from that firearm as much as we can. And we lose that if there's no serial number marking.
Max Kingery is the chief of firearms technology at the ATF. He says homemade AR-15s and other guns are an issue because they are an immediate dead end for any investigation.
Cut all this out.
It starts with cutting out or milling a receiver with either a 3D printer, still an infant technology for such things, or a digital carving machine. The rest is as simple as buying parts online at sporting goods or even some hardware stores, but it's the lower receiver, and only this part, that is regulated by the federal government. An unfinished or unmarked one can go for double on the black market, the beginning of an untraceable crime.
Whether it's growing or not is difficult to tell, but even if it were not, it would still be a concern.
It's something you simply can't track, so therefore you just don't know.
Exactly.
But as technology becomes cheaper and more affordable for people,
I'm sure that it happens more and more, yes.
Here in Baltimore City, police can point to at least one time, which the commissioner says is enough.
That was a homemade gun, and that concerns us. We don't see that often in Baltimore, but the fact that we saw one concerns us greatly.
Now here in Baltimore, the evidence of such ghost guns is more anecdotal than factual. ABC2 studied the last 10 years of BPD gun seizure records. The data shows 10 such illegal guns officers recovered were untraceable, and while this summer's AR-15 style homemade weapon is reflected in that data, The department doesn't specifically keep track of homemade firearms.
And that was Brian Quabler reporting.